But right now, his grips are about to become my grips, because the moment he comes in contact with me, now I get to instantly start to make contact with him. So we have to be very careful, again, when we're trying to make sure that if I don't want somebody to manipulate me, I have to make sure that I don't give them what they want. So our posturing guard has to become much more dynamic when we come in, because the moment we put our hands onto our partner's body for no reason, his grips become my grips. The frames are not necessary. The frames are necessary because I'm pulling him in, trying to come in. But if we get into that habit of entering into this position and immediately putting our hands in with no actual purpose or intent, it's like, no, I'm framing against what? I'm not pulling. So the frame right now has no context. So where are we framing? I know I just blew all your minds. So start getting used to coming in and being a little bit more. So now if I start to pull, now the frames make sense, but that's also my job. I need to give him a purpose so that those hands come in. So the first part we're just going to play with is when his hands go into my belly, okay, we've got all kinds of tools, belts and gis and things of that nature. No gi is always the foundation, and then the tools accentuate whatever we're doing. Don't get into the habit of instantly grabbing for a belt, because what if it doesn't exist? Like, no, you're wearing a gi. It's not here always in the middle of the match. That belt goes away. So he's going to pull in. He's going to start going to his frames. If the frames are good, okay, now the part is I need to get his hands off of my belly to kill those frames. Okay, can be very difficult if he's holding on extremely well. But again, his grips become my grips, so we can start to play with his elbows to open the elbows up, collapse the frames, and pull him in. So as he's tucking his elbows in, I'm giving him a reason. He's framing, he's framing, he's framing. I can come in, control the elbows, break the elbows down, and then start to come into my hooks. I can try to strip the hands free. Okay, that's harder to do than people give it credit for. Latch onto my belt. Don't let me pull your hands. Okay, so now I can start to come in, and I can start to play with elbows at that point in time to start to kill the grips on my belly. Okay, so get with partner, give them a reason to put their frames in, okay, and then I want you to try to strip the hands. Partner, give them everything you got to keep the hands in play. Make them have to start going into other ways of breaking down your posture. Right? We're gonna go back in position. Now, again, understand our rules. Apparently this rule is being changed by the bad boys in judo. Ooh. Inside the sleeve is now legal in judo, still illegal in Gi Jiu Jitsu, because they're bad boys breaking the rules. Okay. So generally speaking, this as a grip, fingers inside the sleeve, fingers inside the pant, is a no-go in the jiu-jitsu world. It has been pretty much in most grappling. Like I said, in judo, they just repealed that. Just watching a video on that like last week. That now they're being allowed to grip inside the sleeve and inside the pant. So, yeah, I got Hans in. I'm giving him a reason. Okay. And again, this is why every point of contact you make needs to have a purpose to it. Otherwise, your grip, okay, once you're touching me, the odds are I now get to make contact with you. So you need to make sure that whatever your point of connection is what you want. Okay? We can be in exactly the same position, but for completely different reasons. Okay? If I put my hand here, you could be putting it in for a defensive posture. Nope, I don't want to fall forward. Or you could be putting it here for an offensive reason. The fact that the hand exists doesn't mean anything other than it's there. But again, one person could be going, I hope my frames don't collapse. And the other person could be going, this is keeping you open so that I can pass. Two different ways of looking at the same thing. But you have to make sure, though, that again, when you make a point of contact, just simply saying, my grip is not enough. Your grip needs purpose and function. Otherwise, it will get you in trouble if you are making a grip for no reason. Okay, so he's made his contact. So now I get to make my contact. The sleeves are the easiest piece. I'm literally within my green zone, and I'm starting to pull Hans into the yellow. Okay, so now through here, I'm going to pick which side that I would like. Okay, again, we're wearing pants right now, so it's another target that we can go for. So I'm going to hold on to those sleeves. I'm going to start to just hold so that it can't go away. Now I'm going to start to probe, holding on to the opposite sleeve, and I'm looking for whatever connections I can make. If inside the sleeve is possible, the part you have to watch out for is in through here, is if I were to potentially let go, I could shift, and now I could be literally grabbing onto the inside of his pants, and you see how now the leg can start to become flared out fairly easily. Okay, I can make that either like a pistol grip. Okay, again, inside the pant is actually illegal, so in jiu-jitsu we have to be careful. Okay, but this is how I got swept at Master Worlds 2017 or 2018, like a lot. It was kind of embarrassing. So we're making our connection here. Okay, I can try to hook under. Okay, most people know that for your flower sweeps and the like, but literally through here, making a connection to the pants is enough. So now, as we come in, now I'm making a cross-body connection. It's another major theme that we play with. So now, when my guard starts to open, I can manipulate sleeve and pant. Again, if inside the pant is legal and allowed, or let's say in the parking lot and the like, I can literally take your knee, twist it over, and at that point in time, even in your guard, because all I'm looking for is this connection through here, now your leg is tweaking out to the side, the sweep becomes even easier. Okay, so in this context, for this class, I'm okay with if you want to play with that, but just know in the competitive world, that grip is not allowed. But in that parking lot, don't ever hide behind a rule that says I can't do one thing or another. Okay, because in that parking lot, it's about simply saying I'm going to make myself safe no matter what. Okay, and there are no rules when it comes to what I'm allowed to do and what I'm not allowed to do. Okay, that's only in this weird competitive world that puts these barriers on us that we call jiu-jitsu as a game. So be careful if you go with the pant leg through here as I control. Some of you can literally just make the arc and make the grip if you want to get inside. Okay, and then again through here, as I straighten out, the leg can start to get manipulated, and then we can make our sweep. So this is essentially your flower sweep and or your pendulum sweep. We can underhook the leg, that's one variation of it. Okay. Or in this instance, like I said, 2017 Master Worlds, the deck goes super long, lanky. It literally just came in, made connections to the outside of my pants, and then swept me over. And this was a dude that, like, every time I tried to create distance, I could not undo his guard. It was actually easier for me to, after he would mount me, escape his mount than it was for me to pass through his guard. All right, let's get that shot. 1, 2, 3. Has in the last 30 years, everything from the way it's taught to the way it's practiced to everything else. And there's a push between this whole ecological approach and everything else. I again will argue, jiu-jitsu by its nature in its traditional sense is eco and has been from the beginning. Well, how can you say that? Okay, in judo, define what a let's I don't know what the first belt is in judo, but define what it means to be that belt. Okay, it's locked, it's canonized. Every single person in this room fits that box to become that belt. Tell me what it means to be a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. It's personalized. It fits each individual very differently. That's more eco than it is the other martial arts traditional realm. That whole eco thing has been part of the traditional model of Brazilian jiu-jitsu almost since inception. It's just that everybody else is kind of catching up to that now. Okay, but Brazilian Jiu Jitsu has always been this very different thing compared to every other martial art. It's been very progressive. It's been and even it, by its own nature, like I said, has evolved tremendously over the last 30 years since it hit the scene in UFC 1 in 1993. I mean, you look at what it was then, you look at what it is now, literally, every decade, every 5 years or so, the amount of evolution that it's done from everything across the board. A blue belt 30 years ago, a black belt 30 years ago. Most blue belts today have a vast, bigger array of knowledge. They're better in most of their techniques, things of that nature. Like I said, Jiu-Jitsu is probably the most evolved, the most dynamic, and the most personalized martial art compared to anything else. So in each class, when you're going over technique, don't get frustrated if that technique is not necessarily for you, because it's not intended to be. It's intended to show you what's possible. And then, like I said, when you go up to that buffet, there's 1,000 items on there. Somebody's telling you that's typically spicy. So the person's like, I like spice. Let me try it out. That's savory. That's this, that's that. That's beef. That's chicken. That's people are testing things out and then putting on their plate what they want, okay, rather than somebody loading up the plate for them. And so that's the goal predominantly of the instructor in jiu-jitsu. It's to guide you, to try to get you to test out new things, try out new things. It's not all for you. It will be used against you in the mat of law. And like I said, it's not everything is for you. Like I said, and then you have to look at what's your personal expression of jiu-jitsu. Self-defense based, MMA based, competition based, because each one of those is going to influence the decisions that you need to make that's going to make you gravitate toward this move rather than that move. But you can't give me a definition of what's a blue belt, because it doesn't exist, not in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu context. Because what Hans needed to get a blue belt versus what Mike needed to get a blue belt, they came to the table with very different likes and dislikes and what techniques they came to with proficiency. So it's one of these things. It's very interesting the way, like I said, the way the game kind of works. But exposure, you don't know what you don't know. You haven't tasted a flavor that you haven't been exposed to. That's the goal. Expose you to as much as possible. Then it's up to you at that point to go, I really like this. So now let me go deeper dive into this realm of possibility. Again, very different, also very ego. The fact that you get to play a major factor in how the direction of your learning goes, okay, that is completely the opposite of the judo model. It's completely opposite of the model of every other martial art. Square peg, square hole. Jiu-Jitsu says hammer that mother in the round hole. It does fit. Okay? So, remember, your grip becomes my grip. That's why you have to be very careful that your grips are something that you actually want. Otherwise, you become very manipulated. That's why people hate the gi. Like, yeah, I can't move. Yeah, because the moment he even comes in contact with me, I can start to make connections as well. So now, as we're going to come in, Hans is going to start to go into some basic passes. So maybe he's going to start stapling my leg. Oh no, he's coming in. So I'm going to start making connections. So at this point in time, when he's starting to go into some of his passes, okay, I'm going to start playing and manipulating with the sleeves that I can control. Because once he touches my leg, maybe hooking the elbow is not that easy, okay? But this is gi, okay? Anything I can touch becomes mine. That's the part we always have to be looking at. And that's why people hate the gi, because they're like, it's too easy. The connections that we can make become very easy. So now, as he starts coming in, looking to start making his pass, okay, I'm gonna keep controlling that sleeve. Keep going. Keep going. So by still holding on to that sleeve, he has to solve this riddle. Okay? He can advance his legs, but I'm simply just holding on to that sleeve and punching it. So at this point, if he doesn't get that limb back, okay, again, he has to solve the riddle of how he's going to kill this. So now, if like what he's doing right now, he's stepping over the leg, things of that nature. If he doesn't solve the riddle of that control is going to pick him apart as he advances and he starts allowing himself to get into the red zone where he's getting crossed up, both against his body and my body. So again, I could be playing here. He starts to make his pass. Through here. So now again, I'm assuming I'm trying other things out at the same time. But as he's starting to move, all I'm going to do is just literally put my knuckles into his wrist. So as he begins to start to try to pass, okay, even through here, he's coming in. This gives me potential connections so that now as he's coming in for, like, say, baseball slides and the like, that sleeve gives me connections and it robs him of his connection. Okay? So again, your grip can become their grip. My grip can become your grip. We always have to be careful. We don't make connections just to say that we did. Okay? Like, it's like saying, you know, in self-defense and the like, if I pull my gun and carry conceal, it's because it goes bang. It doesn't come out to go threat, 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 threat. Okay? The weapon comes out because it has an intent, a purpose, and a use. And it comes out to do it immediately. Okay? Same thing with your grip. Your grip comes out with an intent and a purpose and to be used immediately, not to make the grip and go, I'm going to hang out here for a while, because then your grips will become my grips and I will manipulate them against you. Okay? So first one, let's do this. So as we're here, let's do staple. So as Hans is bringing, staple not baseball, as he's coming in through here, and as he's starting to put his body into me, so right here, I'm going to control that sleeve. So now, if Hans wants to continue to start trying to advance, my goal as he makes this connection is going to be, go back up, is going to be through here. As he's stepping in, I want to try to feed it between his legs wherever possible. And again, I'm going to punch. If it stays out here, he's got to be worried about the threat of Kimura coming over the top and the like, because his arm is being left in jeopardy. Okay? If I can feed it into the middle, now he's really in trouble, because now I'm literally going to do nothing. I'll let him pass. Because while it's between his legs, he's giving me levers. Okay? If he continues to pass, it goes underneath. That's where literally all I did was just walk to the other side. And then same thing, if he's coming in, I'm controlling the sleeve. Oh no, he's got me. I can make my connection. He comes in like he's going to go baseball slide. So right through here, he's missing one of his major components that he would like to have. He wants the underhook. Again, his connection. Okay? His connection's about to become my connection. So as he slides in, okay, I'm going to punch the hand up in the air. Now through here, again, if he's not careful, this becomes my connection. Okay? Or same thing as I'm here. This becomes my connection to take him up and over. So the part of the game that we always have to watch out for is, yes, it is true. Okay? My grips or no grips. Okay? But again, be careful. Your grips must have purpose. Because otherwise what's happening is you're bringing the gun out, but you're not using it. You're threatening everybody with it, and that gun's going to get taken from you. How many people get shot with their own gun, okay, in altercations? Okay? It's because they didn't go, I need to use it, bang. They went, all right, stop it now. They brought it out without a purpose and without an intent. So by the time it comes out into play, it gets stolen from them in the process. Okay? So make that grip. Partner, start to make your pass. Yep.
What calorie do you use if someone's using a dive pass or a back step?
What do you mean?
Is it the same, shove the hand between the legs and lift, or does it need to go somewhere else if they're diving?
He's interrupting it before he gets there.
Got it. Okay. Hey, well, that's sort of.
All right, so he comes in. Na, 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 na. I've got my connection through here. Go dive pass. Okay. Oh, actually, a weird direction.
I was thinking, I was like, wow, that's weird, a really weird dive pass.
So you don't use that, huh?
So he staples. So now, how's he drop the shoulder?
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. Because currently right now, if I'm holding onto the sleeve, when he drops the shoulder, this hand's not going over the top. Again, he's helping me. Drop your shoulder. Okay, so again, through here.
That was so much worse.
That's just super easy. Right? Other variations, again, to watch out for is if a connection, can be made, then through here, again, other pieces that are happening right now. This is just the same side grip. It's also the opportunity to make our switch to the other side. Then through here, as this one dives under, there's sweep variations where we can now play the two opposing corners. It takes a little bit of acrobatic, where we're going to do backward somersaults, things of that nature, but still very possible. But if I make just a simple connection, okay, this connection, if not dealt with, okay, is going to get used against you. So at that point in time, again, it's very important that when we start making our connections, we make them with intent, with purpose, and then we have to act on it when we make the connection. We don't make a connection and hang out and then allow our partner to regrip, because again, that's how most of the stuff gets stolen from us. So again, if I'm here, go back to your. So again, this becomes all too easy. He's made his connection. Now I make my grips. Now, even just trying to get to my legs is going to become difficult because he can't even pull his hands back. This is the gift that everybody gives us immediately. The moment they even put their hands on our belly, those sleeve grips are already in play. So now he automatically has to solve the riddle of the sleeve grip before he even gets to do anything else. So that's why, again, one of these things where we get so in tune to, I need to put my hands on the belly, but why? Was there a purpose? Was there a tension that made you do it? Or did you voluntarily make a connection? You made a grip for no purpose that now gets stolen from you. So, yeah, we're here. He's going to start to make that connection to my leg. No, I'm just going to connect. And as he starts to pass, I'm just not going to let him have this hand back now. Because when the hand goes, anytime your hand starts to break your own hip, you're in trouble. Pure and simple. For any reason whatsoever, whether you do it yourself or they do it, your hands belong here. And the moment they start to go outside your hip, or in some instances where I'm pushing my hand between your legs, now if you advance, that shoulder becomes compromised because the hand is going between the legs, and now the manipulations are too easy. It's like,